Hey guys and girls, and Happy New Year! And back with some new 2022 drama. So I'm going to be talking about the new BBC thriller series, The Tourist. So first episode was on BBC Tonight, but all 6 episodes are on iPlayer now if you want to check them out and binge them. But there's another episode on TV tomorrow night, so I guess they're giving you the option. So this is set in the outback in Australia, and it stars Jamie Dornan, who people know mostly from The Fall and also the 50 Shades films, just for contrast. And he plays the lead. It also stars Danielle MacDonald, who people would have seen in Unbelievable, the Netflix series, a couple of years ago, and one or two other familiar faces. But the setup is that Dorman plays a mystery man who's in the outback and who gets involved in an accident, in a crash. A truck basically, one minute it's like pursuing him down the road and he appears to have given it the slip, but then the next it comes crashing into him. He wakes up in hospital and he seems to have amnesia. He can't seem to remember who he is, what he's doing there, what happened, various things. So he's obviously a stranger, and you start getting this mystery behind what exactly is happening with him. At the same time, there's certain other things. Danielle MacDonald plays like the sort of rookie detective, if you like, who's very new to the job and it's her first investigation, but she's the one who comes in and asks him questions and helps him out a little bit. But you get a little bit of a sense of her character and her life, that she's got, some sort of weight issues, so she sort of goes to like these like meetings and stuff, and she's very kind of playful and naive. That's sort of her character. You also get like random cutbacks or shots of this other guy who's like trapped somewhere in like some sort of a box or some sort of a container, and he's trying to get out, and that becomes relevant at the end of the episode. But most of it is obviously Dorman's character trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And the first episode, it's sort of a funny one. I did enjoy it. It has a very sort of, I would say, quirky Coen Brothers style feel to it at times. And I think that's partly summed up in like the first scene where, sort of pre the crash, the Dornan character goes into like a shop, like a roadside shop, and he asks if he can use the toilet, and the guy who's like running the place or like serves him says, you've got to sign in, and Dorman's like, well why, sort of thing, and says you can only use it, and he sort of makes this quip about what's the difference, because the other guy says it's because people have like run off with the key before, and Dornan's character rightly points out that, well, what's the difference? It's like I could still sign it but then run off with the key anyway, and the guy gives him a funny look and he obviously makes him sign it. And now this does become like important later, because the Dornan character later on starts like retracing his steps, and it leads it back to this sort of thing. So there's some quirky like humour like that, because there's stuff with him at one point before the crash singing in his car. There's this really sort of odd bit of music, and he's got like a terrible voice, and there's other like quirky musical moments like that. There's this stuff with like the woman who runs like the B&B that he stays in at one point, who again is helpful and stuff, but she's like inviting him to watch like Australia's version of Survivor, which is really funny. But there's just stuff which I think is playing on the whole like fish out of water type thing, you know, lost in a strange town, lost in translation, and it all goes to like the metaphor of this guy having amnesia. But it's an intriguing first episode with, as I said, some quirky touches which certainly I appreciate. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but I thought it was enjoyable and solid enough, and there's some intriguing things set up for like the series moving forward, and I thought the use of the Australian outback was nicely done and effective. So like the scene where he's being chased on the road, for example, I think that was pretty grueling, and there's a little bit of style to it. It's not just about the plot and like the characters and some of the dialogue, and there's sort of different things that's going on as well. There's this weird sort of character who sort of goes to visit him in hospital at some point, but it's after he's already like discharged himself, and there's just something. That guy again maybe has a feel of like a Coen Brothers type character, but you get the impression that he could have sinister motives as well. But there's different things set up anyway. But where it all leads, which is because when they bring him like his trousers, he finds a note in it, and there's like a date which is like the 25th and a place to meet someone, and they obviously assume that it's the 25th as in of that month, so the next day as it happens. And so he discharges himself, and he goes to like this roadside diner place, and he goes to meet whoever supposedly, but he's waiting there, and he gets talking to the waitress, Lucy, who becomes a big character later on, and she takes an interest in the fact that he's got amnesia. And then what happens is there's this whole thing where she like spills his like lemonade on him, and she says, well, our toilet's out of order, and you need to like go and use the toilet across the road, and she sort of shows him like the way, and again that sort of becomes significant later on when you see the twist with her, because it turns out that she may have knocked his lemonade over on purpose, that it wasn't just an accident. But I like that actress as well. I thought she did a pretty good job. She felt quite sort of natural. But so they go like to the other toilet, and then wouldn't you know it, a bomb goes off in the diner. So a bomb explodes. So it turns out he just missed being killed, and obviously he gets the sense that someone's trying to kill him. But then later on, what happens is that when he's at the B&B, he gets a call from the police officer, the Danielle MacDonald character, who like says that they got like his camera from his car after it like crashed, and they processed the film, and then so she emails it over to him at the B&B. So this is all you can see stuff developing, and like a sort of a mystery developing here. But it's sent over to him, and there's like him just shots of like landmarks and stuff, and one is like this sort of like rock sort of type figures. So they go there the next day, and this again breadcrumbs, but he goes and talks to like this guy in like a gift shop like nearby, and they sort of convince him to like show them like the video footage from that day. And again, this is another pretty funny bit, because the Dorman character sees himself buying like a koala bear or something, like a cuddly toy. He's like, why the fuck am I buying a koala? Which is pretty great. I think Dorman's sort of like brooding sensibility actually fits this type of role pretty well, and he's got that whole mystery man, dark, mysterious sort of vibe. But the delivery of that was really funny. And then this again is very convenient, but it's just to drive the plot on that someone who's in like the gift shop at the time happens to be able to read lips, so they get him to like translate what Dorman's saying to like the shop guy, and they sort of figure out that, you know, then he's going over to this particular gift shop, or this shop, which is the shop in the opening scenes. He walks in, and this is a little bit of a surreal scene because it's the same guy on, and the guy greets him with, "Oh, it's Mr. Comedian," and obviously Dorman doesn't know what the hell's going on. He doesn't remember the whole conversation they had and the whole thing with the toilet, because he asks if he can like use the toilet, and he repeats the whole thing about the key, and he doesn't remember. So the guy's like, "Are you kidding?" But then he wants him to show him his name, the name that he signed, and that's why he called him Mr. Comedian, because it turns out the name he signed was Crocodile Dundee, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's quite clever because of the whole Australian connection, but I sort of buy it as well. Someone who is like quite sarcastic and put out about the fact that you have to sign to use a toilet. I can imagine them just like giving a faux sort of like comedy name. That's definitely something people do, but it's obviously again quite convenient because it means that we don't get his real name. But anyway, yeah, he sees that, and so that's my headline for the review, no doubt. But he then asks, can he go to the toilet again, because he wants to like inspect it. It's a filthy toilet, by the way. And he goes there and he starts searching out back, and he finds the koala bear. He finds it hidden, and so obviously he takes it, and then the phone rings, and this is where the link to that guy is, the guy who we've seen trapped and trying to escape, because he's actually phoning him and that phone. So he's like, I need help. He's all frantic. So that's how it like ends, which is like really intriguing stuff. And the other sort of twist in the tale is that Lucy, the waitress, actually knows him, because later on we see her with photos of him on her phone. Or I mean, it could have been his phone. We're not really sure, but photos of them together. And she's like deleting the photo, so I sort of had a feeling there was a bit more to her than meets the eye. So there you go. So that's pretty much the episode. It's pretty solid stuff, quite entertaining, and it promises some twists and turns. I mean, it's certainly intriguing to see what's the reveal going to be exactly. Who is he? What's going on with him? So They definitely have me hooked, I think. It sort of looks like it could go either way. It could be a bit convoluted and fall apart a bit and not quite live up to things, but certainly solid characters, solid premise, pretty solid cast as well. So I'm in to check out more, definitely. That's The Tourist, which started on BBC One tonight. As I said, all 6 episodes are up on iPlayer now if you just want to check it out that way. But I'll be back probably tomorrow with the next review of it. If you watched it tonight, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. Share me out on social media. Don't forget to ding that bell on YouTube to get notifications. And also, if you just want to throw a little bit of money my way, as little as $1 a month, you can do that on Patreon, and that's patreon.com/boardnow. Or if you just want a one-off random donation, there is a PayPal link on the main channel. But thanks for listening. Goodbye.